All right, so we are going to, since we want to texture up this, and we know where our front is, which is here. All right, so I'm going to go into my texture paints, and that will help us to get here. And you're going to see this at first, and this is normal. All right, this is normal for you to have this purple color when you come into your texture paints. All right, so without going into the detail of this, I'll just get into what we need for this texturing. I'm going to be giving you other videos to where I explain in detail everything about this texture paints. All right, but for this tutorial, this is just how you can use it to make up this product rendering and animation. So I'm not really going to go into detail for this. So the first thing I'm going to do is to tell what I'm going to add this paint into. So we already know that we have a plan that we want to paint in our image label that we've already downloaded, and that image label, we need to also know what channel we are going to be putting this image into. Are we putting it in the metallic channel, or in the roughness channel, or in a messy, or in color channel? So we need to establish that first. All right, so we already know that we want to put this in the color channel. So we need to first tell Blender we are putting this in the color channel. So for us to do that, we go into our tools tab here. Once we click on this tools tab, you come down to this place where you have no texture. So you come here, and then you will just click on this plus, and then you tell Blender where you want to plug this paint to. So I want this to be in my base color. So once I click here, you're going to see this comes up and tells us to give it a size. So I want to size this 2K times 2, times 2. Whatever value you choose is up to you, but then the higher the value, the more the resolution, but then the longer it takes to, so you just understand that. So once I have that set, the next thing I'm going to do is to bring my color down to black. It's very important for my color to be set to black as the base color. And once I do that, I'll click on OK, then it's going to paint the whole object black. And then if you come to your UV workspace, you can also see that it's done. So once we have that painted black, now I can come into this and paint over this. You can see that I'm painting, and that is painted on top of that. All right, so and how am I having this white color? It's just here, or you can also choose the white color here. So if I bring this back to black and I paint over this, and you can see that that black color paints out all of the things we have. You can even do your painting right here, so you don't have to do it in your 3D viewport. You can come in and paint right here. All right, so let me just undo that, Control Z, so that we have that out. So we are not painting, all right? We want to bring in an image and use that to texture this product. That is what we want. So what do we need to do? We need to come down to this property in our tool tab here. You come down to, you see your texture. So I'll click on the texture. I want to click on new. Then it's going to load the texture. So right now this texture slot is waiting for a texture to be used, but right now there's no texture loaded here. So how can I load the texture into this texture slot? I'll have to manually come down to this texture category panel here. Once I click here, and then under my settings, I want to open up this texture so we can load the texture that we want. So I want to bring in this image texture. So I'll select this and I'll click on open, and that image texture will be brought into my screen here, as you can see. But right now we can't still use that, so we have to go back into our tool. Once we go back into our tool category, we come down into this place. You can see that the texture is now showing right here. So if you don't see the texture, you can just click inside here. You can pick whatever texture. So just imagine you have a lot of texture. Just click on this thumbnail. You can choose any texture that you want. So now we have the texture. So I can actually paint the texture in. You can see while I'm painting white, it's revealing the texture, and that's not what we want. We want this to fill in the front. So I'm going to undo that. So instead of painting over, I'm going to change the mapping from tile to stencil. So once I change my map from style to stencil, this is what I'm going to have. And you can see this is the stencil. So how do we manipulate the stencil? You can actually move the stencil by right clicking on it. Once you right click, you can move this into position. So you can see I'm holding down my right click to move this stencil to where I want. Once I'm okay, I'll let go, and that will move the stencil. I can scale my stencil by holding down shift and right click, then move to the side. So I can move this up and down. So notice I'm holding down my shift key, and then also holding down my right click. While I have my right click held on, I will move up to increase and move down to reduce the size. All right, up and down to reduce and increase the size. All right, and if you also want to rotate, you can also rotate by holding down control. So if I hold down control, I can rotate this to the side or to the side. All right, so I'll try as much as to make this straight and zoom into this place like so. Let's do a bit of rotation also. And now, for me to paint over here, I like making sure that I am on my orthographic view, because right now there's a little bit of a tilt to this. So for me to be sure that I'm in the orthographic view, you can see that it says user perspective. I'll click here, and this is now saying I'm in the front orthographic view. And now if I do this, I'm sure that I am actually straight on to this object. So I will come here, scale this up. I'm looking at this guy, and I'm seeing the object through. I just want to increase this a little bit like so. Let me move this up all the way and be sure of where I'm placing it. So you have to take the time to get this corrected. So let's say this is what I want. All right, it fills in the shape in the background. And then what I need to do is increase this, because I wouldn't want to paint like this. All right, so this really takes time. So I'm going to undo that. Instead of that, I want to increase my brush. I can come here and increase the brush right here. You notice once I go outside the screen, it disappears. All right, so because you have to be in the screen for the stencil to show. So we want your brush to be really large, larger than the shape that you want to paint over. So you can either use this to increase the brush, or you can use your F key to increase the brush. So once I hit my F, then I can move my mouse to increase the brush. So I want to increase the brush to the point where it fills up the whole shape and the stencil. So I want to paint. So I hit F, make sure it fills this up, and now I'm sure if I just click once, that will work. The next thing is I want to come to my strength, make sure my strength is set to 1, all right? And 1 means 100% of it. So I'll just come in and I'll click once, and that will have painted. But now we have another issue. The issue is that you can see the brush stroke. I'm having a little bit of a fall off to this brush stroke. I don't want to have that fall off, so I'm going to undo that. So what I need to do is just come to my tool and scroll down till I see my fall off. I want to change my fall off from this to constant. So I'm going to have a constant power all through. So if I click again one more time, you can see that it fills everything like so. And then we've painted that. If I go to this side, you can see what we have. This has been painted. I want to come to this side also and do the same thing. So I will just hold down my Alt and middle mouse to lock this to the side. Then I need to come and change this texture, because this is obviously not what we want there. So I'll go back to the texture, click on this folder to load another texture. I want this to be at the side. Click here, and then I want to scale this to make sure this is filling the whole object like we want. All right, so this comes here, and I'll just go back to my tool. I think everything is fine. I'll just click once, and that fills that side. And then we want to go to the back. So we now have our front, we have our side. Let's go to the back. And then it's just the same process. Just come in and load the back one, which is this one. This is what I want to use for the back. So I'll load that, scale this to make sure this is filling the whole shape that we want. Let's just say this is here. So you have to really look at it and be sure you are filling that, and just click once and that fills that part. So we want to come to this side. So here there is no label, so but there's one label that I got. I can just click here, and not here actually. Yeah, we can do that there. So let me use this product so that I can use this side. I'll just click here, and then I'll move this to make sure this is filling up this shape like so. And maybe I want to make this a little bit larger, and then move this in position. And then we have that guy, so I'll just click once, and that will fill that point. So so you can see that I have this. I don't want that showing, but we can actually paint over it. But then I will Ctrl Z that and move this down so that we don't have that white part. So this is good for me. Okay. So if you look through, we have all of the front, sides, and back painted. So what's left is now the top and the bottom. So for the top, maybe we'll just give it a color, and then this base maybe a color. So maybe for this top, let's give it maybe orange color. So what we can do is we can now use paint. So for me to get rid of this, I can just go into my tool, come to the stencil, change it to tile, then I'll cancel this out so that I'm not making use of texture anymore. I'm going to be making use of color. So I want to choose this color. I can just click here, use my sample tool. I can sample this color, and this is what I'm going to have. Don't worry, we can click here and increase the value so that it brightens a lot. So I'll also move my screen like so and paint once. So that paints that. So what to do for the purple also, I'll zoom into this place, or maybe even zoom in here, and I can sample from here so that everything is consistent. So we can come here, sample from here, so we have that. Actually, I feel should have sampled from there, but no issues. We come here and click once, that has been painted. Let's sample and do this again. Yeah, so you have that product made, and then this is just what we have. So imagine we have this guy done, and if I go back into my layouts, and this is what we have for the layouts. Look at the product and it's showing, but right now you notice that all of these edges are sharp, and we don't want that. If I hit N, everything is one, so don't worry. We'll go into our modify, add a bevel modifier, and what we just do is reduce this amount. So like, let's say like so, and then increase this so that we have a little bit of edge to this, and I think that's fine for us. I can right click and make it smooth, and then we have that edge for us. Okay, and one more thing I'm going to do, just like a bonus besides this, if we go into our texture and let's check this guy. So this is the product that we have right now. If I go into the texture of this object and I come down here to my specular or to the roughness, I can either make it rough or make it shiny like so, so it's reflecting the environment. So instead of me making this like so that it reflects this environment, I can actually drive this with a texture. All right, I can drive this with a texture, and that can be done in our shader and shading workspace. If I click on the shading, and that will show this shading workspace. Don't worry about that. We can quickly bring the texture over here. So let's bring this right here. So this is it. So I want to bring in a texture that I'm going to use to drive my roughness instead of me just having it that really rough, like so, sorry, that really shiny like so. I want to drive the roughness. Okay, so now there's another problem. You can see I'm trying to orbit here, but it's not really orbiting around this object. So I can actually go into my edit and go to the preference. And while I'm here, I can go all the way to navigation. So in my navigation, what I want to do is I want to click on this zoom to mouse position and then depth. So what this will do is that it will allow my orbiting focus on where my mouse is. So if my mouse is here, I can orbit around that position. If I orbit here, that becomes the focus on my orbit. So I don't get to have that issue I had earlier. So I will come here. So look at what we have right now. You can see it's really reflective. So let's bring in that texture and use it to drive the roughness. So if I drive this texture here, I downloaded this from one tutorial online some years ago from I think MoGraph Plus. Yeah, I downloaded from MoGraph Plus tutorial. So you can actually check him out and you can get that. So I will plug this into, so this is this texture. So I want to plug the texture into the roughness slot. So let's bring this here and bring this here. And just wait for this to load. I might need to save. I think it's time for me to save so that I don't lose this file, everything I've done. So I will plug this into my text, into my roughness, and now we're going to see something happen. It's going to change the way the roughness works. You can see what's happening now. It's now looking like a used park, and you're seeing some fingerprints, and some parts are reflective. You can see some are not, and some. So just to break the roughness apart. So I can also further control this if I want by adding another shader or another node. So if I hit Shift A and I click on this search, I can add ramp. There is this color ramp. If I put the color ramp over here into the slot, so we can use that to remap this guy. So the way this works is that when you have black, it's going to be really shiny, and when you have white, it's going to be really brushed off. So you can actually control that by saying I don't want this white to be too white, so that it's not too rough or too glossy. I can bring this white a little bit down. You can start to see what's beginning to happen here. Instead of me having it too rough like so, let me show you see what's happening. Can you see, instead of having that, I want it to still be a little bit reflective, but not too reflective, but you can still see a little bit of that roughness. You can see that. Then also for the black, I'll just select this black. I don't want it to be too black, so it's not too reflective. Just so you can actually control this with your color ramp. And I'll just take this a little bit up, like so. And then if you look through, and I think this is good. I think so. And this is just to add more realism to this and more interest to your package instead of it just being one object like so. All right. So that's the bonus for this. How you're going to texture paint your packet. Let me take this back to viewport layout, and you can see that See, I've texture painted this, and then I've also used the shading environment to add another shader or another map to drive the roughness. So if you feel this was helpful, please do give me a like and a thumbs up, because um, this helps me get to my algorithm. And if you're new to my channel, please do subscribe, because I do tutorials like this every day. So see you in the next video in this series, where I'm going to break down how to animate this product and then render it out. So see you in the last set of this video tutorial. Do have a wonderful day, and God bless you. Bye.